Welcome to the LC3 Family Talk podcast, where we take a deeper look at everything from recent sermons to current events, all through a biblical lens. You'll love the guests and stories you'll hear on LC3 Family Talk, where our goal is connection, community, and relationship with God and with one another. And now, here's your host and one of our pastors, David Pritchard.
Hello, Lake City. So glad you are here. And you might notice I have my lovely wife, Kelli, with me, as well as a couple of other faces that you might recognize, because I've been looking forward to this podcast. This is going to be a blast. I will just be honest, they have not been looking forward to it quite as much as I have been, but they were kind enough to come and join me. Thanks, you guys, for being with me. Yeah. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But what I will tell you is that they are three of the pastors' wives here at Lake City. And they have been a part of Lake City for a long time. And so you're going to get a chance to hear a little bit more about them, also some of their experiences with Lake City. And most importantly, you're going to get a chance to hear just some of their experiences as being a pastor's wife and what is that like. And Kelli, I'll pick on you first. Let you begin by telling us a little bit about yourself, family, all of those kinds of things.
Statistics, the stats.
Yes.
Okay, Kelli Pritchard, and I've been married to you for almost 44 years. My goodness. We have 11 children. We have 19 grandchildren with one on the way. We have been coming to Lake City since 2002. We came from Centralia. David was working with Young Life, and we've been here 24 years. That's how I got here.
Nice.
I'm Debbie, married to Tom, 30 years in July. We have 3 kids and 2 in-laws. So our 2 oldest are married, and they're far away. We have one set in Scotland, one set in Boston, and then we have Zoe, who's going to graduate this year. So we've been here since 2003.
And I'm Jaci, Kennington, and my husband is Jim Kennington. And we have 5 children, and 4 of them are married, and we have almost 12 grandkids.
Yeah, like as we are recording this, like it's this week potentially. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And you've been here for, as the kids would say, you've been here for a minute.
Yeah, we came in 2000, so it's kind of easy to remember. So, yeah, it's been a little while.
The first time we visited Lake City was in 2001. We knew that you guys had just recently had started here. It was fun to kind of be on that front end of when everything was really getting going, because that first summer we came, there was actually a time where we only did one service a weekend just for that summer, because it was a little bit slower, and everything went back to 2 services in the fall, and of course never again went back to 1 service. But yeah.
Wow, good memory.
Well, man. Again, I just want to say, you guys, thanks for coming. I know you weren't just excited about coming, but you were gracious enough to say yes and come. But I have been looking forward to this, because I know when I talk to folks in the church, oftentimes they'll ask about you guys and what do you like? What does life as a pastor's wife look like? So I've been looking forward to this, that we can do this. But before we jump into being a pastor's wife, I'd love to kind of go back a little bit and just hear a little bit of your background. How do you end up sitting here today? Like, where did you grow up? What did those growing up years look like?
Well, I was in a Christian family, and I came to know Jesus at a pretty young age, like 4 years old. I think they were teaching about hell in Sunday school. So I was being babysat. My parents came home, and the babysitter was like, "Jackie's pretty upset. You need to talk with her." And so my mom led me to Christ. That is about to the earliest part of my spiritual life.
So then was church just a part of your life from then on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Later, I was at a conference in Oregon, and it was actually for college-age students, but our family attended. And there was someone there that was talking about ministry, and he was a very dynamic speaker, and he was sharing how in their early days they were basically making it their ministry off of, they didn't have any money. And so it was very compelling story, but I remember it kind of stuck with me because I felt like that really resonated with me somehow. And
You're talking about ministry.
Yeah.
The idea of being
Yeah.
in ministry.
That was the first connection I think I personally had with it. So anyway, I met Jim when I was 14, and I remember, my mom remembers this too, I said, this is just the kind of guy I would like to marry someday. So, and Jim was not headed for missions or anything at the beginning, but he did get more interested in missions. And that's another story how we ended up in pastoral ministry. But originally his heart was for missions.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of have a similar upbringing. I was in the church anytime the church was open. Me and my family were there, and so I accepted the Lord really early. But it was more of that fear, and my brother just sat me down and he led me through the sinner's prayer. That's like the initial, and you just grow and mature in your faith. Probably high school was part of that, doing different youth group camps. We always have the mountaintop experiences, and really in college was when faith became my own, separate from my family and going to church on my own and choosing to do that. So really it blossomed in college.
I've heard it described as a little bit like getting married. When you go to the altar, what you know of yourself and what you know of this person, you're saying yes to.
Yeah.
And so in many ways, that's our faith in Christ, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What we understand about him at 4, or,
Right. Yeah.
and then what we understand about ourselves, we're saying yes to,
Yeah.
which looks very different than it does 10 years later.
For sure.
And
And
or
even
20
10
years
later.
Yep, exactly.
10 years from that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, that's good.
And my
Well,
story.
I know a little of your story, so this will be a little different.
Yeah, I did not grow up in a Christian home. My parents were good people, met when they were kids. Church was not part of my life, nor was any Christianese language, so I didn't understand anything. My family moved out to Washington when I was in high school from Terre Haute, Indiana. Go Hoosiers.
They won the national championship. Come on.
I know. But I had a hard time adjusting to the West Coast. Big adjustment. So I kind of went back and forth. My parents allowed me to go back to Indiana, stay with my grandparents. And while I was there, a good friend of mine started asking me to go to church, which I refused because I just was uncomfortable. She kept after me, and finally I went. And after a couple Sundays, I'll never forget this. It was just a small Christian church in Indiana. I felt like the pastor was talking right to me, and it was one center aisle, probably 100 people, and I walked up and accepted Jesus. And in that particular church, everybody stayed after, and they baptized you right after. So I said, one-stop shopping. I got saved and baptized all the same day. But I studied secondary education and social work, and I really thought I would be in one of those areas. A pastor's wife was never on that view screen at all.
That's a great transition into where we go next. The reason I asked you here is because you're all pastors' wives. I would have gladly interviewed you even if that wasn't the case, but you are. And so I would love to hear a little bit about that. How did we end up in pastoral ministry?
I would say we came here because you were on staff with Young Life, and then we did a co-job where you did part-time Young Life and part-time family ministry, and that moved into being full-time here at the church. So that's how we got to Lake City full-time.
So, you know those secret lists you keep in your head of things that you never want to happen in your life? I don't advise you do that, because God knows those things. But like being a pastor's wife was at the very top. It's like, as growing up, it's like, oh, I never want to be a pastor's wife. But the Lord is so gracious and kind and leading us this way. And I don't think it was on Tom's radar either. I'm married to the lead pastor here at Lake City, Tom, and I don't think it was on his radar. He'd been an elder at the church, and he had been given the opportunity to preach a couple times a year. And I remember the first time he preached, and we got home, and he just sat on the couch, and I could tell something was different. And he's like, I think I was made for this. It was a long journey. I think it was about 13 years from that moment that God just led us step by step into being where we are today.
Can you tell our friends what he was doing before this pastor job?
Yeah, he was in education the whole time. So we We were in Boston as teachers for the first couple of years, then moved to New York where he was doing like data analysis for different school systems, and then left that job. And then he was a principal for a couple of years, went back to data. So he was in Colorado, traveling back and forth to Colorado at the time that,
It's amazing.
it was time to look for a new pastor and step into that. So,
amazing.
yeah.
God had a plan
He did,
the
and
whole
he
time.
does.
And he does.
Oh, Debbie, have I got something for you?
And Jackie, I'm guessing a lot of the folks, well, obviously the folks that have been around for a long time will know exactly you and a little bit of your story. But for anyone that's come in the more recent years, there's a good chance they have no idea who you are, who you're connected to. I'd love just a couple of minutes just to hear a little bit about your journey and, you and Jim, and like, how did you end up in pastoral ministry? And is this where you always thought you would end up?
Okay. Well, let's see. As I said earlier, we were kind of interested in missions. We both went to Bible college, and there was a big emphasis at the college we went to of serving in missions. When we got into seminary, actually before that, Jim did a summer mission trip in Central America. And at the debrief, they encouraged him to go to seminary. He had already graduated from Bible college. And so in seminary, he was thinking about maybe doing counseling or missions. And then we applied to do a summer mission trip, and it didn't work out. And it was overseas, but it just wasn't God's timing. But at the same time, a pastoral internship opened up, and that was in West Texas. We were down Texas. So we did that, and it seemed like Jim really got interested then in pastoral ministry. And so after that, he was a youth pastor in Eugene, Oregon. Go Ducks. And then we were in Colorado, and go Broncos. And then we went back.
So in case, church family, you haven't seen, oftentimes when we're doing Jersey weekends, Pastor Jim will be in his Broncos jersey. So give him a little grace. That's why.
I know. We were kind of hoping we'd be in the Super Bowl with both of our favorite teams, but we do like the Hawks. So, so anyway, we were in Colorado, and then we went back to Oregon, and we left that church, and a year to the day, we came to Lake City, which I always thought was kind of interesting, God's timing, literally to the day. So
when we first moved, Kelly mentioned, when we moved up from Centralia in 2001, we visited the church, but then later the next year was when I got to know Lenny Holmes, who was one of the elders. And he told me, you've got to come check out Lake City. I said, I grilled him and asked him all sorts of questions. And then I came, and we enjoyed the church. We had visited it once, we came back, enjoyed it. But I said, I need to talk to the pastor. And so I went to lunch with Pastor Jim and grilled him also. And it was great getting to know him. If you haven't had a chance to talk with Pastor Jim, do. He's so humble and so gentle. It was such a great conversation. Obviously, it worked because we started coming to Lake City and have been here ever since. So,
and can I say that Jim was so glad to be able to invite you to be on staff. I forget all the details, but I'm pretty sure that he was influenced by John Maxwell that always said, always hire up your staff. Don't be intimidated by someone that you might think is more gifted than you. And I think that he said that about you, David. So we're very glad that you're here.
That's very kind. Yeah, Pastor Jim's and you, Jackie, are a big part of our journey, and not just at Lake City, but our Christian journey in general. I remember coming home to Kelly after my conversation with Jim and saying, so they're asking about coming on staff as the family ministries pastor. I remember us thinking way underqualified, but I felt very honored that he was willing to come and have that conversation with me. And obviously we're very thrilled now as we look back and realize how God used that conversation in our life, certainly, for sure. Now moving kind of into the pastor's wife part of things, I was laughing because as I was thinking about having this conversation, I went, Wow, actually putting Kelly on the panel sort of protects Jim and Tom, because anything I ask of you guys to tell on your husbands gets told on me. So I was like, oh, well.
They thank you, I'm sure.
But I would love to know, has there been something that's been surprising about being a pastor's wife?
Sometimes I have told people I don't really think of myself as a pastor's wife. And I remember one time someone said, well, maybe that's what's wrong with you.
Who is that someone? I'm talking to them.
But I mean, generally, I do feel like I'm Jim's wife, and I've encouraged a couple other pastors' wives that way too, to think that you're that person's wife, because you want to support them. But yeah, being a pastor's wife isn't something you really take classes on or really talk to too many other pastors' wives. I know.
Maybe we should go back to college.
I think that time is hard sometimes because you can feel like you would like to be more involved in different things, relationships and different things. But I think, that I always springboard off of Jim. Like, do you think I should do this? Like, I'm in 2 Bible studies and I'm doing my own. And I got invited to another Bible study. And my first thought was, no, I don't have time. But I said, Jim, do you think I should do this? And he said, yeah, I think you should do it and just try it. Just go once and see. And and I'm looking forward to that one. It can fit into my other ones, the way it's structured. So I don't have to study a new thing. I'm just going to present what I'm studying in that Bible study. So anyway, I think it's just like a fluid thing that you learn and grow, and you trust God for the things that might be hard. I know one time someone asked me, can we do something together? And I remember I just kind of froze because I felt like I was so overwhelmed right then, you know what I mean? And Bethlehem, my daughter, was nearby, and she said, she's a photographer, she said, Mom, you've got to work on your smile.
But Jaci, you bring up a good point, and even the question hints at this as well. All 3 of you are amazing women and amazing people and amazing people in ministry all on your own. And yet oftentimes you're the pastor's wife. In so many ways, that's not even fair, right? Because you each have this amazing ministry on your own. And then you also have this life on your own. And then you are married to the guy as well as to, it's almost like, and also, by the way, he is a pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Debbie? Anything surprising?
I was kind of surprised how easy the transition was. I'd been the women's ministry director for so long that it really didn't feel like this huge shift for me. I felt like I knew the ladies and that they knew me. And so I think just the graciousness of the women and the graciousness of God has made that piece of it very fluid, very easy.
I have to say, when Pastor Tom first came on, we met early on in the process, and I remember him because at the time I had the pastoral oversight of women's ministries, so you and I were meeting together, and I remember him asking me, so what do you think if I become lead pastor, when I officially take over as lead pastor, what do you think, should Debbie stay on, or is that going to, I said, you would be crazy to not keep her on. It was like but I understood where he was coming from.
Sure.
Right?
Well, that's what my impression was too. I'm probably going to need to step down.
Yeah.
Because that would be too weird. And he was like, it must have been after talking to you. He's like, please don't step down.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just been, I don't feel like that piece has really changed a lot in my life. It's just been really easy and beautiful. So, yeah.
Kelli, you always knew you were going to be a pastor's wife.
No.
You married this dumb jock, and now look at what's happened.
But was it at the top of your secret list?
No, absolutely on top. Not even on a list, because I didn't even think of it. But I will say, I feel the same way, Deb. I remember Jaci was super gracious, and Kelsey Wilkening just saying, you just be you. You don't have to be at every single thing. You don't have to meet every single person. And from that moment on, I felt like I could step in and just be myself, and they would just have to know I didn't go to Bible school, and I didn't grow up in a Christian home, and I would do my best to be the pastor's wife, but I certainly didn't have the credentials that y'all bring to the table. So, but I just remember feeling such freedom in I can be who I want to be, which is, again, a core value of our church, which I just love.
So, are there some hard things about being a pastor's wife?
I think I didn't expect, and this might sound really strange, but I didn't expect like that spiritual attack. I didn't really expect the enemy to be so mean and relentless. And so that piece has really, it just encourages me to pray more and gather people to pray more. And I just didn't, it's something I didn't think about was that piece of it.
That might need to be a t-shirt. I didn't expect the enemy to be so mean.
Maybe. Do you know anyone who does that? It took me off guard a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good reminder for all of us in a lot of our journeys, but certainly when you find yourself stepping into a more intense ministry role, to recognize that, there's going to be a spiritual opposition to that.
So please pray. Pray for all the pastors, all their families.
Yes, secret truth, that's the real reason we're doing this, is so that we can ask for extra prayer. Yes. As you think about this coming year, the church, we've had lots of exciting things happening where things continue to grow. Long ways from 25 years ago when we had a summer of just one service in a very much smaller worship center to where we are today. We obviously know that's the grace of God, the faithfulness of God, and we're so grateful for that. But as you think of this coming year, we're kind of at the front end of 2026. What are you excited about this year? Other than, I know you've got a grandbaby coming.
Family-wise.
Well, I think, there's a lot of personal things where this is my 70th birthday and our 50th anniversary this year.
Oh, wow.
My goodness.
And the new grandbaby coming, so a lot. But, and we're going to Israel too, so excited about that. But it's always exciting to come to church. We come usually Saturday night. So if you don't see us very much, that's where we are. There are so many cool people that come. Everyone comes with their story. God's brought them. It's always fun to meet new people. Sometimes you can connect people like, I know someone that lives by you, or I don't know, God just has a way of connecting people. And I used to say, we hope you come back. We hope to see more of you,
Yes.
And just that welcomeness, I think that's one thing that is so exciting. And when you come in and everyone's visiting with each other and catching up.
There's a buzz. There's a buzz, yes.
Isn't it beautiful?
Now, you're not saying all the cool people come on Saturday night, are you?
No, this isn't true, but I guess it's our own service or something.
Yes.
A lot of people start coming to that one when they have kids in the youth program. And so then you just end up staying with that one, I think. And I think another thing that's very exciting is our worship ministry, too. You mentioned Kelsey Wilkening, and we've known Mark for all these years. Appreciate him so much. He leads us into the throne room of God.
Yep.
And what is more exciting than that?
How about you guys? What are you excited about this year?
I was sitting here thinking hot dogs. Hot dogs. No.
I'm excited about hot dogs.
It is nice.
Yeah.
I like.
Personally, I think we get to go to the UK to see Angie and Abraham, and I'm pretty sure Zach and Gianna are going to come too. So that's our son and daughter-in-law, and then our daughter and son-in-law in Scotland. But I think we're all going to be together and doing that. So that on a personal
So fun.
level,
Oh my
that
goodness.
will be so fun. Even just to see them, but then to see them together. We haven't seen each other for a while, so that would be really great. Church-wise, I don't know. You just don't know what God's going to do. And so I think maybe the anticipation or the eagerness of just seeing how he's going to work. Tom mentioned today, a year ago, we didn't even know about Lacey. So if a year from now, what is God going to have done in this year? So I don't know.
That is such a good point, though. There are things that we're excited about because we kind of anticipate, we know they're coming.
Right.
But what about those things we don't know?
Yeah.
How fun is that?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I just have a couple personal ones. This year is my 50th high school reunion, which I hate to even share because I cannot believe that. But at the same time, it's also the 50th year since I accepted Christ. So it's kind of an interesting thing that both of those are 50s.
Yeah.
And I actually, and I know the pastors are shaking their head when they hear this, but I'm excited about growth. When I think about Lacey and I drive in, into that neighborhood, there are hundreds of families that I'm not sure have heard about the gospel. And while I'm interested in them having an invitation, I'm equally as excited about our church because we have a core value of growing people deep, not just getting a bunch of people in the building, but really discipleship is such a huge part of what we do. And I love that. I missed that message when I accepted Christ, that there was this whole discipleship, sanctification, transformation that was going to go on till I took my last breath, and I didn't quite understand that. So I'm just excited to, again, keep meeting new people that show up and hearing their stories and pointing them toward Jesus and the growth and transformation that can take place in people's lives.
I love that. That's so good. Favorite Bible verse?
Psalms 11:16 or 16:11. I can't remember now. Thou wilt make known to me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy, and at thy right hand are pleasures forever.
Yeah.
Love that.
So good.
Parents gave me the verse of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 when I was a baby, dedicated me with that verse. So trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And I think that has been a life verse for me.
Yeah, it's so good. And mine's Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary during good, but keep on, and you shall reap a harvest if we just don't give up. And I love that, to not be discouraged with all the stuff that's facing us, but to just keep on doing good.
Well, you three ladies epitomize that for me. I love that. So one of my goals this year is to read more. One of the pitfalls you can get into as a pastor sometimes is all your reading is for teaching purposes, and you're reading for somebody or for something, which it's not the worst thing in the world, but there's a need to read for what does the Lord have for me, right? And so really committed to read more this year, and at least a book a month. And so I'd love to hear you guys, what favorite book or a book recommendation or anything about a book.
Well, right now I'm really into doing the minor prophets, which are from the Bible. I just didn't get that far in Bible college. I got married after 2 years. I missed a lot of the Old Testament. And I'm actually just really excited. And I've done 2 of the bigger prophets. Usually I read through the Bible every year. Jim and I do that together for so many years, and I loved it. But last year I got a new Bible that has the wide margins in it. And I just it's online with a really cool guy. He's not a pastor, but he really goes into the history and different things that you're not going to really know if you're just reading the Bible straight up. So it's very exciting. And so I'm going to try to do all the minor prophets, and I've just done a couple of them. Yeah.
Well, we did one in our fall study.
Yeah, and I'm redoing that one again. I don't know why, because I didn't do it in my new Bible yet, I guess. So, yeah, I just did Amos, got done that with that one. But it's all, a story of God just saying repent. And even in one little word, it said, perhaps this will happen if you repent. And just that one little word, perhaps, is hope.
Yes.
Because some of the prophets are giving a message, it's too late. This is the judgment. It's like your indictment against you, But they're all different. It's like a repentance. And isn't that the story from the beginning, from the fall to our glorious future we're going to have with Christ, So anyway, that's what I'm doing right now.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's perhaps, it's hope, and it's also this acknowledgement that it's not in our hands, in somebody else, it's in God's hands.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm not the best reader in the world, but my discipleship group is going through the book Humility by Andrew Murray. And it's
Okay.
like this big. It's so teeny tiny, but it's really packed full of just the concept of humility and how Christ was humble and how we can be humble in our living out life. I wouldn't say it's a quick read because it's so deep, but it's a good read.
It doesn't feel overwhelming when you get it.
No, because it's so tiny. It's really, really tiny. It's like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah, I could. I like
I
that.
should know the answer. What do you read?
Well, I'm not preparing for sermons, but one of the things that I love doing is trying to keep up on the marriage and parenting stuff that's getting put out, which is a lot. I could never keep up. But aside from that, my all-time favorite book is definitely Redeeming Love, because it tells such a compelling story about the love of Christ for people that are a mess. And then I love Karen Kingsbury because I know I can relax and just have a good story with a happy ending. And I need some of those books right now because I keep doing the nonfiction. I need some of that good fiction. So
That's good.
That's good. Well, ladies, thank you for coming and joining me. And I hope our church family got at least a little glimpse kind of behind the curtain and a little bit into what makes you guys tick. I have the privilege of knowing you guys better than most. It's such a privilege to know you guys and such a privilege to do life and do ministry together. And I'm just really grateful for all three of you and the way that the Lord has used you in my life, but also in the life of Lake City. So thanks so much for being here, and thanks so much for being you and for being used by the Lord. Appreciate you all. And thanks everyone for joining us, and hope you'll be with us next time. See ya.
Thank you for joining us for connection, community, and relationship here on LC3 Family Talk. See you next time.